Hi, friends. Don't you just hate getting sick? Especially your stuffy noses. But did you know that if you hum 10 minutes a day, 4 times a day, you can actually clear up some of that nasal congestion? Fascinating, isn't it? But would you rather just not get sick? That's all up to your immunity. And unfortunately, there is no direct on and off switch to activate or turn off your immunity. Or is there? Believe it or not, your immunity has a love language. Just like a relationship, your partner may not come right out and say you're not speaking the same language, but you can feel it when they quietly, passive-aggressively check out. Now, when your immunity checks out, you feel bad. It passive-aggressively makes you change directions. It challenges your brain to reflect and think about your actions. And just like a box of chocolates can mend a relationship, well, the right foods can actually strengthen your immunity. And in this video, let's dive into the top 10 foods that speak your immune love language to nourish and protect you throughout the seasons of change. So number 1 is actually chocolate. Not just any chocolate, but the right kind of dark chocolate. Chocolate just isn't a comfort food. It actually can give your immune system a lift. Dark chocolate is full of powerful plant compounds called flavonoids that calm inflammation and protect your immune cells from stress. Now, it can even help good gut bacteria grow. And since most of your immune system literally lives in your gut, that makes a huge difference. But if you buy cheap chocolate, like the ones that you get from Halloween, well, you're really going to be missing the ingredient that makes dark chocolate shine: cacao. Cacao is actually a fermented food packed with flavonols, particularly epicatechins and catechins, which act as antioxidants to reduce oxidative stress on immune cells. This is fancy speaks for helping your immune system clear trash so that they can take on the next challenge like a cold. Now, these compounds also modulate signaling pathways like NF-kappa B, lowering chronic inflammation that can actually weaken your immune defenses. And the polyphenols in chocolate, well, that encourages a healthier gut microbiome because it feeds it. It feeds beneficial bacteria such as lactobacillus and bifidobacteria, which in turn produce metabolites that strengthen gut-associated lymphoid tissue, a key hub of immune activity. Your gut doesn't just digest food, but it's lined with lookout towers with soldiers that communicate with the rest of your body. Dark chocolate also contains magnesium, iron, and zinc, minerals essential for proper T-cell activation, antibody production, and viral defense. And some studies even suggest cacao boosting nitric oxide. And that is like the key element to improve your circulation so that your immune cells can reach the sites that it needs to get to more efficiently. In fact, dark chocolate is so powerful that people with peripheral arterial disease, they can actually improve their walking distance if they eat dark chocolate regularly. And folks, if you haven't realized this, blood flow is a key to life. And everything that we do needs to keep our blood flow pristine, and that will extend your health span. Now, in order to appreciate the value of food on your immune system, I really think it's important you have a way to gauge progress, right? That requires feedback. Now, studies with dark chocolate had people eating dark chocolate for several weeks. And keep in mind, the initial feedback was actually pretty subtle. It took several weeks to build up nutrients, unlike the immediate feedback you get from, let's say, a surgical intervention. You know, when you get surgery in your arteries, it can open up those arteries instantaneously. Arteries get plugged up from plaque, like atherosclerosis. And just like stocks, you run the risk of losing a lot of your investments if it's really aggressive, right? And surgical interventions can have bad outcomes, such as excessive bleeding. But the right foods, they usually have a bunch of side benefits. And in life, there's always a reaction for every action, right? And this is why it's really important that we get to know our bodies, because it gives us feedback all the time, every day. But if we don't look for it, we'll probably miss it. And a lot of times these feedback, they're not like in your face. They're really subtle. And it's just tries to shift our brain to make better decisions for our body. And for example, we all know smoking is addictive. And when you smoke, it increases peripheral artery disease. It basically causes rapid acceleration of aging and atherosclerosis. If you get it severe enough, you will have excruciating pain just walking. But before you get to that stage, many people will actually suffer for years from mouth sores, runny noses, sore throat, dry skin, acne, constipation, and diarrhea. You don't have to be a smoker to have these symptoms. These are all signs and symptoms or feedback from your largest immune organ, your skin. And your skin is not only on the outside, but it's also inside your body, in your gut. And that's why it's important to address skin conditions from inside out with food quality and not just put on lotions and creams. Food that keeps your skin healthy will optimize your immunity, your GI tract, and your airways too. So number 2 are actually berries. And keep in mind that there are edible berries and non-edible berries. So I bought these berries online. So let's open them together. And what I bought was basically goji berry. Here we go. Let me show you what it looks like inside. My goodness, it's really sealed. Okay, this is what it looks like inside. Can you see it? Looks like this, right? These are little tiny red goji berries. Super crunchy because I got them freeze-dried. If you're lucky enough, you can get goji berries fresh or frozen or just regularly dried. And I bought these freeze-dried because I can't get fresh. And yes, these are a little bit more expensive, but freeze-drying retains more of its nutritional content than just drying it. You know, I believe food is medicine. I save my money by minimizing eating out. I avoid junk food. I don't watch movies. And yeah, sometimes I will splurge on something that I think is absolutely amazing. Goji berries are grown in Southeast Europe and in Southwest Asia. And I grew up eating goji berries in all kinds of soups and desserts. Traditional Chinese medicine, they also use goji berries as tonic and tinctures and powders. And this berry is really packed with healthy lipids, proteins, fibers, vitamin C, and minerals. There's a lot of nutrients that the West has yet to appreciate because there are thousands of plant compounds that if you don't eat the original plant, you're just not going to get, such as phenolinic compounds, polysaccharides, and carotenoids that are unique to goji berries. And these compounds, they interact with your immune system as well as your nervous system and really just about every system in your body. Your immune system undergoes so much oxidative stress every day. It really needs a way to de-stress, detoxify itself. Otherwise, trash accumulates and your cells will die. Hence, the value of eating foods like goji berries that are high in antioxidants. I look for foods specifically with these red, yellow, purple colors. And when you eat dried fruits and dried plants, you know, sometimes they're tangy because of the acid like vitamin C, but they also sometimes have a bitter taste because of all the antioxidants. But obviously, this is a fruit. And if it's not too tangy, it'll also have sugars in it. So then you get this sweet and sour taste. If you can get some fresh, that's awesome. If you get it freeze-dried, that's actually pretty good too. And when you eat these freeze-dried fruits and plants, you get like a mosaic of tastes and textures on your tongue that is unique to every plant. I look for high-fiber foods like goji berry because I'm trying to feed my gut microbiome. It communicates with the rest of my gut to prevent those hard rocks from forming, to allow healthy, regular daily bowel movements. And in addition, goji berries are high in proline and serine, 2 amino acids that are super important for collagen rebuilding. Berries have to survive in nature, right, amongst a bunch of germs. So the plant itself, it has to have a way to defend itself. It already has an immune system so that it can survive. And when you eat those plants, you're literally borrowing those immune system, those immune molecules that have antimicrobial properties. So you're getting them too if you eat enough of them. And your gut has a ton of microbes, right? Some of them will be good for you and some of them will be bad for you. And the key is, how do we allow the healthy ones to keep us healthy and the pathogenic ones to really go away? And this is a game that we play with our lifestyle. It requires us to find food to feed our gut microbiome and to squash those pathogenic microbes before it gets to us. Every time you eat, the cells that get nourished first are really the cells that rapidly turn over, like your immune cells. And on the other hand, if you're not eating the right foods and suppressing your blood flow, well, your immune system will also get affected. And those cells will have a hard time turning out. It's swimming in the ocean of your blood. So it really depends on your blood flow to get where it needs to go. And that's why I'm really careful at what I put in my mouth to swallow. Number 3 are blueberries, which grow abundantly in North America. And think about it, bears still live on berries. You may want to try some too. When I visited Washington, berries grew on a bush that was maybe 3 feet high. But when I went to Alaska, they're basically ground level. And the special properties of berries are literally that blue color. Blueberries are rich in antioxidants, particularly anthocyanins, which can enhance stem cell proliferation and reduce oxidative stress. A great deal of your stem cells live in your bone marrow, specifically hemopoietic stem cells. They are the mother cells that give rise to all your blood cells. And from your stem cells, you get red blood cells to carry oxygen, platelets to help you clot, and white blood cells. They are your immune defense. And stem cells are damaged, whether it's by a virus, by toxins, by bacteria, or maybe you're attacking yourself, autoimmune attacks. The entire blood system can be thrown off, and you may get anemic, you may be unable to clot, or you may get an immunodeficiency. And as an infectious disease doctor, I see this all the time. People's bone marrow getting suppressed when they're challenged by some external insult. Stem cells, they can easily get suppressed by viruses like HIV, parvo, B19, Epstein-Barr virus. And sometimes this process triggers a massive immune response, overcompensating, called this cytokine storm, which we witnessed during 2020, or let's say when you get the flu. And this is why I target foods that supports my stem cells. They are so critical to your defense when you meet these environmental toxins, these germs. And hence, if you offer me a blueberry pie, even though it has blueberries, I will politely decline that pie. Not just because of the added sugar and the saturated fat that makes it taste so good, or the starches that make the crust, but also because you probably cooked that blueberry in the oven. And when I eat fruit, unless there is a benefit to add heat, I like to consume it raw to maximize their health benefits. Hi, friends. I am so thrilled that you want to take charge of your health and take charge of your food. Now, I know nutrition can be complex, but it doesn't have to be. And I'm here to support you in this lifelong journey. So if you point your camera app to this QR code, it'll take you to a link for a free handout that I created just for you. And if you like it, if you want to see other handouts, please go to the link in my show notes, and then you can leave me your feedback on what I could do to help you in your journey. Okay, back to the video now. And when you're at the store, you're going to have the option to buy wild blueberries versus farm-grown blueberries. Buy the wild blueberries. They undergo stress in the wild. They are usually richer in anthocyanins, smaller, so they have more skin, and they're darker and deeper in color. And I generally think they taste better. Fresh blueberries and frozen blueberries, they both can have comparable nutritional antioxidant levels, which is really good because sometimes frozen is cheaper than fresh, but they both can have a significantly higher level than dry blueberries. However, frozen blueberries, they typically retain most of their vitamins, especially if they are flash frozen shortly after being picked. And if the fresh ones aren't picked too early, they also are pretty packed with nutrients. Fresh blueberries will generally be firmer and have more vibrant flavor, but the frozen berries are kind of soft and squishy, and they're juicier, especially when you thaw them. They are, however, great for smoothies. And remember, the fresh ones won't last too long. They'll usually spoil within about a week. So please use them up, eat them quickly, or freeze them. And you can store it in the freezer for probably quite a few months. And as you age, your stem cells will be simply less robust. They will be subjected to more oxidative stress, which speeds up aging. And you know how they say don't eat the big fish in the ocean because they collect a lot of heavy metals and toxins compared to the small fish? Well, do you know why? It's not just because they eat more food. It's also because they have lived longer to eat more food. Adults, we also collect toxins. If you're surrounded by pollutants and toxins, whether it's air pollution or pesticides or plastics or herbicides, they are very easy to collect and they stay in your system. They tax your body unless you're constantly detoxifying. Otherwise, your mitochondria will be challenged, and when it poops out, it will poop out. Hence, it's really important to do these things daily, right? To counteract the oxidative stress before you get the next challenge or the cold. And that's why number 4, broccoli sprouts are especially good for people because they are high in sulforaphanes, a molecule that stimulates your stem cell activity by modulating the expression of genes involved in cell renewal and repair. Sprouts, especially from cruciferous vegetables like broccoli, have a higher concentration of vitamins such as vitamin C, vitamin K, and B vitamins like folate compared to their mature counterparts. Sprouts are also rich in minerals like iron, magnesium, and potassium. And the bioavailability of some of these minerals can be higher in sprouts due to the reduction of anti-nutrients like phytic acid during sprouting. The process of sprouting, it breaks down complex carbohydrates and increases the availability of protein. It makes the sprouts just simply easier to digest. Now, sprouts also contain a higher concentration of antioxidants compared to the mature plant. For example, broccoli sprouts have been found to contain significantly more sulforaphanes than the fully grown broccoli crowns. And the amount of sulforaphanes you need is dependent upon the toxins that you're exposed to. So a smoker would need more antioxidants than a non-smoker. And hence, smokers need more vitamin C than those who don't smoke. Now, in general, sprouts are also easier to digest compared to the mature plant. And I'm sure you've eaten things that just don't agree with your system. And sometimes it's food poisoning, and sometimes it's your digestive system. Whether it's slow digestion because diabetes has destroyed your nerves, or you're just simply eating too much saturated fat, which also slows down digestion. Really, just fat in general, it helps people get better blood sugar readings when you eat it with carbs. But that's really the false impression that people's blood sugars are better. In fact, it ends up doing more harm than good. Now, number 5 is the elderberry, which is also the exception to eating fresh fruit, as they need to be consumed, ripened, and cooked. Raw elderberries are simply poisonous, but properly processed elderberries have been shown to prevent and reduce symptoms from respiratory infections. And most people drink elderberry teas or they eat them as syrups. The story behind the elderberry is quite fascinating. In the Middle Ages, the elderberry trees were believed to protect people from evil spirits, but they also caused bad things to happen to people. Now, even modern culture references mystical power, referring to the elder wand used by Dumbledore in Harry Potter. Now, I have here a replica of the wand. It's called the Wand of Destiny. It was said to have been the most powerful wand ever to exist. And supposedly, in the book, this wand contained powerful magic and was the rarest of all wand woods. And throughout history, the elderberry was viewed as both good and bad because raw, unripened elderberries got people sick because it's full of cyanide. So be careful where you get your elderberry tea from. So number 6 is by far the most well-studied spice on earth, turmeric. There are thousands of scientific publications on turmeric against, let's say, lung, brain, and autoimmune diseases, including cancers and toxins and arsenic. And there's even studies on taking turmeric for recovery from surgery. Now, I am convinced almost everyone should be incorporating a little bit of turmeric in their normal diet. And notice I say diet and not supplements. People have been eating and drinking turmeric as a part of their diet for eons. By the way, if you eat mustard, well, you're eating some turmeric. And you can eat turmeric fresh, which looks like a fluorescent orange ginger root, or dried in a bright yellow powder in your spice aisle. And literally just a quarter teaspoon daily of a powdered turmeric in hot water, that's going to just give you a great immune boost to your health. However, whenever you eat anything, your food all needs to get by the really tough guard in your body called the liver. And unfortunately, the beneficial compounds of turmeric are rapidly cleared by your liver. They're destroyed. So people, they figured out how to biohack that. And they did that by stopping the liver from doing its job. And that's why when you buy turmeric as a supplement, oftentimes you'll find black pepper. Because the compound in black pepper called piperine, it increases significantly the levels of curcumin by 1,000% in your blood because it inhibits liver enzymes. Now, an astute student of health would ask, is that safe? And it depends on how much turmeric or curcumin you're taking. And when you're taking turmeric, you're taking the entire root in, not just curcumin. But most supplements are basically concentrated curcumin, right? When you take the whole root, you get fiber and thousands of other nutrients, including terpenes. But many people, they don't choose to do that. They're not eating food. They're taking curcumin as a supplement. So in essence, they're mega dosing it. And then you add some black pepper and you're mega dosing it. Does that sound safe to you? If it doesn't, that's why you're hearing on the news that people have gotten their liver in trouble taking turmeric supplements. Number 7 is another ancient spice that my mom put in just about everything that she made, including eggs, potatoes, and fish. And that's ginger, which is a staple in the Asian cuisine, but also valued for its medicinal properties. My dad, he would make me drink ginger tea every time I got sick. And honestly, I hated it. But like every kid, we grow up and we realize, hey, our parents were right. Your largest immune organ is your gut, and ginger is your gut's best friend. Phytonutrients in ginger, such as gingerol, it gives not only ginger its characteristic flavors, but it also gives it its unique properties. And besides helping your immune system calm down, it also helps with digestion. It relaxes your gut. It reduces nausea and pain. And it works great for motion sickness. Now, ginger, it can be added to food. It can be eaten raw or added to salads. And it can also be enjoyed sweet with apple slices or just sipped in hot water. And just sprinkling, again, a 1/4 teaspoon of ginger powder. It has tremendous anti-inflammatory properties. Now, number 8 is peppermint, which is the most antioxidant-packed common herb. And you can enjoy it dried or fresh, savory or sweet, in soups or salads, or steep it in tea. And in the beginning, I said humming helps with decongestion. Well, peppermint can too, but it can also help with bad breath from bad germs. It can calm your gut. It calms inflammation. It also helps reduce muscle pain. And you know that uniquely minty, characteristic taste and smell of cough drops? That's menthol, which is isolated from mint. Number 9 is by far the healthiest drink, matcha green tea. I personally find it bitter, but I drink it because I know it's good for me. Matcha is packed with antioxidants that interact with your immune system. The special immune-boosting phytonutrients of green tea can protect your DNA and has been shown to be effective topically. Orally, it may reduce the risk of a variety of chronic metabolic diseases, seasonal allergies, and pneumonias. Ever heard of warts? That's caused by HPV viruses. And even the FDA recognizes the benefit of green tea and how powerful it can be as an antiviral because it approved an antiviral over-the-counter medication made from green tea. Now, if you find matcha to be bitter, you may want to cold brew it to maximize its antioxidant content. And make sure that you don't add dairy milk. That casein may bind to it. Number 10 is a high-protein, portable, immune-boosting food that is easy to incorporate. It's been shown to reduce the rates of respiratory infections in runners and reduce seasonal allergy symptoms. It's called nutritional yeast. And just a spoonful of nutritional yeast daily adds a cheesy flavor without the inflammation of casein and hormones in dairy, and it can improve your mood and overall sense of well-being. There are certain people, though, who shouldn't eat nutritional yeast, like those with inflammatory bowel disease like Crohn's disease and hidradenitis suppurativa, because it actually can exacerbate their symptoms. And if you want to learn more about immune recovery, watch the next video.